Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast. We are back again to discuss everything that's happened in the hockey world over the past couple of days, especially since the NHL playoffs got underway. I am here with Mr. Sin for the Winski. Sin, how are you today on this fine Thursday? We're recording a day early because we had to out of necessity, but yeah.
I'm doing okay. Recovering after all the snake bites from last night. Very painful.
NHL 2K10, it giveth, it taketh, everybody.
That was the first time it felt even close to an EA game, and I got my PTSD. It just was like, meh, right in my face. I heard helicopters going overhead.
You missed two wide open nets, maybe three.
No, yeah, I missed at least three wide open fucking nets. And it was, man, I think that was just with Heatley and a couple with Korea too. That was fucking
yes.
brutal.
If anybody hasn't been watching on Twitch, we found a way through the lovely world of emulation again to play NHL 2K10 franchise mode with four of us at once, trying to figure out a way to make it five at once so we can all player lock to an individual person. But
it's tough.
We have taken the 2010 Ottawa Senators, who start with the top line of Danny Heatley, Jason Spezza, and Daniel Alfredsson. And we have each been allowed to have one trade to bolster up the team. And boy, have we made trades. Sin gave away the fact that his trade was to acquire Paul Kariya. And there are other trades as well. So, hey, you can follow that on Twitch. It will be up on YouTube at some point in the near future on my
great fucking game, channel. And it's a blast playing with the boys and playing a hockey game where I don't hate it 90% of the time. That was the first time where I really got not happy with the game because I just couldn't fucking hit a net, dude.
We lost 3 in a row for the first time. I believe I don't want to spoil the record, but we have no reason to be upset.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, no, we really don't. And I'm pretty sure we got points out of most of those too.
Yeah, we went to overtime a couple of times. So.
3 in a row.
Oh, it's been a blast. It will be up on my second channel, TWO GIE24. That's going to be the home again for all my franchise mode stuff, in case you didn't see the channel update video that's out. So make sure to check that out. Endo Mills is here as well. Endo, how you going? How you going? How you doing? How's it going? How you going?
How am I doing? How am I going? I'm going.
How you going?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Just sleep deprived. I've been in meetings all day, and just the usual as it's been for the past little while for me. 2K10 was again. We're gonna keep plugging 2K10 because that was so much fun. I've never heard Sin get so mad before in my life. And
that is because he typically mutes his mic on NHL 22.
Yeah.
If he starts to get that mad.
Who does?
You.
Oh, yeah.
You normally mute the mic if you start to get a bit tilted.
Oh yeah.
But I think the highlight of that you'll see randomly in there, but good friend of the podcast, Danny Webster, who was a reporter for the Vegas Golden Knights, started to do some little beat reports on our little downward spiral that's gone on so far. It's gonna be very interesting.
We had live reviews from an NHL.com contributor. Of course, he was on the podcast as well, back around the trade deadline, and he's enjoying a fine early vacation with the Vegas Golden Knights not making the playoffs. So, at Danny Webster 21, everybody. Tremendous follow, tremendous guy. Today we're going to talk some playoffs, as we do, because the first 3 nights of the postseason are done and dusted and in the books. But before that, we have some business to attend to. We want to mention, of course, that this podcast is brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. You can use code Tougie at checkout to get 20% off your order and free worldwide shipping. Head to toe, Manscaped's got you covered when it comes to not only feeling your best, looking your best, just in general. Manscaped gets you into a great peace of mind with Manscaped. I don't know, you can sit there right now, and if you're rocking the 70s bush, just know you can feel better. Not to say, hey, you want to bring back the bush, but I'm just saying, it might be awkward on those beach days. It might be. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I know where you're going with this, and you're going to manscaped.com. You're using code Tougie for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Gentlemen, some viewer questions today. We didn't get to get around to them in the last episode because we had a lot to talk about with our playoff preview. And boy, after the first 3 nights, make sure to go back and listen to that episode if you haven't to see how right or wrong we might already be. Especially me. First question, though, and of course, as always, if you want to leave a question, you can join the Discord. Of course, the link is in the description on the YouTube side of things, and of course, in the description, no matter what audio form or audio platform you're listening to the show on. And that first question does come from Moneyman. Favorite ice cream flavor? This is where we're starting. You know, it's finally starting to feel warm outside. For those watching on the video side, I got no choice. The window's open, the sun's shining through because it's a nice balmy 60 degrees Fahrenheit here. It's nice. We finally get to enjoy the weather. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Sin, I'll throw to you first as the Californian who probably gets to enjoy ice cream a little bit more often because I don't know about Endo. I don't really enjoy ice cream when it's below freezing.
Yeah, I agree with that. If it's too cold, it's like, why am I eating this? Like, there are some times where, like, I'm at home and, like, I'm sad, I'll eat the ice cream, so it makes it feel better. But, like, if it's, like, winter outside, I'm not going to go get a cone. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Here it's hot a lot. All right, so I got I'll have to throw out a couple here. One is a classic that I always go back to, chocolate chip cookie dough. Because it's just classic. So good. I mean, that's amazing. Another one here, soft serve vanilla.
Ooh.
Soft serve ice cream is unfortunately a dying delicacy. And unfortunately, McDonald's has a lot of contribution to that because their fucking machine's always broken.
Get the books.
But seriously, why isn't there just a soft serve ice cream place? Why isn't that bigger? I don't know. There's a fucking conspiracy, I swear. My last one here, I actually had it when I was in Pismo Beach, and it was something I never tried before, and I had to try it because it sounded so interesting. Caramel pretzel. It was a vanilla-based ice cream with caramel, like real caramel in it, and fucking little chunks of pretzel.
Mm-hmm.
It was incredible.
For those of you in the New England territory, you will know that as the Boston Celtics exclusive flavor of ice cream, Full Court Pretz. And it is 100% my number one ice cream flavor right now. Sin, you basically hit my top 3.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, the chemistry carries on for more than the sheet of ice, Tougie.
It really does. Endo, anything you want to throw out there? How about some black raspberry or something along those lines?
Black raspberry, huh?
Wow, black raspberry.
I didn't mean it that way.
No,
how about some black?
It just so happens that I enjoy white as snow raspberry.
Of course, you enjoy white. No, anyway.
Chocolate.
I was just trying to think of a way to be like, somebody mention black raspberry because it's delicious.
Yeah, chocolate's just black vanilla. Prove me wrong. I think my favorite though. There used to be a frozen yogurt place nearby where I was. You guys, I think it's a U.S. brand, Menchie's. They used to be around here when I was younger. I used to go there every day just to grab the sample cups and just to fucking take those and just run off because I'm a little broke-ass little child. But now, I think my favorite from Baskin Robbins because they got 31 flavors. It's like Rocky Road or something like that.
I knew he was gonna say that, and I was gonna say, don't you fucking say Rocky Road, because that shit's awful. But here he is.
It's just awful.
Of course.
As a kid,
it's
too
too
sweet.
I don't know. That's me. Yeah. That's just me.
As a kid, I love Rocky Road, but I like there was one that's it's like gold medal ribbon or whatever like that. So nice and chocolate. It's got the caramel or caramel, whatever you want to pronounce it. A little bit of vanilla in there too. Really nice and soft. But now I'll just go for like froyo, and I'll get like vanilla, maybe a little like lime in there too. You know, something like that.
Sorry, there's a duck in my pond outside, and I just had to stare at him for a minute.
There you go.
Assert your dominance.
Two things to finally shout out.
I say hi.
There you go. Number 1. Gelato deserves a mention.
Oh, yeah.
Gelato's delicious, even though it's not ice cream. And secondly, I don't know if this is a thing in other places. Of course, it's a thing in New England. It's called Moose Tracks. which is vanilla ice cream with fudge and peanut butter cups.
Ooh. That sounds amazing. Ooh, that sounds yummy.
We do ice cream right in New England, let me tell you. It's our only reprieve.
Yeah. So there's this other place I just remembered right now, just thinking about this. It's called Eva's Original Chimneys. It's here in Toronto, or Toronto, whatever you want to call it.
I don't recommend you go there because they haven't paid us anything. And fuck you too, Baskin Robbins.
Well, they have
3 good flavors out of 31.
None of them are my favorite. It's like a weird, like a funnel cake kind of thing, and it's like breaded, coated with like a bunch of sugar on it, a whole bunch of like soft serve ice cream, and you get different flavors and all that. It's crazy. It's tasty. Yeah, it's a chimney cake.
I have a feeling we could talk about ice cream for 6 hours, so we'll move on.
This next topic I could talk about for fucking hours because
here's the problem.
I worked at a pizza place for 5 fucking years on and off, and I am an elitist about how my toppings. So let's go.
God. Matthews for Conn Smythe asks top 5 pizza toppings. Now we don't have to do top 5. But again, I don't know what's with the food-centric questions today, but I swear we've answered this before, more than likely. But you know what? Fuck it. Let's entertain it. Sin, the elitist.
You know what? I'm gonna take you for. I'm gonna give you the top 5 combinations of pizza topping because you can't just say mushroom's a good topping. It needs to go with something. It needs to complement itself. If you get cheese and mushroom, you're a sociopath. So here it is: pepperoni and mushrooms, elite combination. Pepperoni and jalapenos, also an elite combination. Pepperoni and sausage is always legit. And then, here's one. If you get pepperoni with extra cheese, but the extra cheese has to go on top. So it kind of covers the pepperoni, and a little bit of grease gets caught in there because we're fat as fuck.
Don't call me out like that. Come on.
And, I just realized how much of mine are mushroom-based. Mushrooms are good, baby.
Yeah, you're a fun
I think that was 4, yeah. And then here's one you need a white sauce base, and then obviously you got your cheese, and then what you need is grilled chicken, as well as mushrooms and white onions. When it comes out of the oven, you put lettuce on top, and then after that you drizzle sriracha sauce over it as well. I created that pizza, called it the Sriracha Sunrise, and it's delicious.
I don't know if I could top that. Jesus. I will say I'm not a big mushroom pepper type of person. In fairness, so I'm a bit of a basic bitch. You know, you can go with the basic meat lover style. Just throw as much stuff on there as you want. Just I don't know. I'm a basic bitch when it comes to pizza because pizza's delicious.
It is great.
It's just how it is.
Yeah. I would go with I don't like mushrooms on my pizza. I don't like mushrooms in general. I'm just that kind of guy. When I usually get a pizza, if I have to get pepperoni, it'd be pepperoni, hot peppers, jalapenos, ground beef, and extra cheese on top. That's my go-to.
Not a bad option. All right, well, let's wrap up this show now that we're all hungry. And thank you guys for listening to the Tougie Steak Podcast.
I'm actually looking at food right now. God damn it, I'm so fucking hungry.
From Killer Socks, what the hell are these questions today? Is Facebook an obsolete social platform? Excuse me, sir, I think you mean Meta. God, yes? Who uses Facebook anymore?
I have a Facebook to stay in touch with, like, some old friends and
people.
Family. That's about it.
Yeah.
It's clearly not obsolete because
What's easier, Sin? Talking to Aunt Judy or just being like, here's a picture, Aunt Judy, and she's like, oh, that's so nice, I hope you're doing well. And then that's it. You don't have to talk to her for another 6 months.
Yeah, it's...
Fuck you, Aunt Judy. I don't have an Aunt Judy.
Facebook is clearly not obsolete because it has such... you should see the amount of money that companies and political people are dropping on Facebook. Like,
did you see how much money they burnt in a quarter on their metaverse thing, which looks like literally an obsolete version of some of the other
PlayStation thing?
You know,
the rec room. It looks like Rec Room.
Yeah, it looks like a worse version of Rec Room. They spent $3 billion and a quarter on this thing because they can.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So Obsolete, to our generations as we trend other directions, but it's a huge, just a cog in the big machine, if you will. It literally changes. It dictates so much. It can essentially dictate policy just because of people paying them. It completely, and it's as I don't know. I'm trying not to go on a rant about how evil they are, but yeah, they could have easily done something about child sex trafficking that was happening on their website, and they knew about it and chose not to do it because it was making them money. So like, they're completely not obsolete. If that shit's allowed to go on, they're not obsolete. It's a generational gap at this point. No new kids are signing up for Facebook. We were kind of, me and Tougie maybe are the kind of in between ones who would have a Facebook. But then again, it's crazy. It only came out in I got mine in 2010, or 20. Yeah.
Damn.
It went. Go ahead.
I got mine 2009.
Yeah,
that's the cycle.
Yeah.
That's how quick the online cycle is.
It went so fast from MySpace to Facebook, and then,
I miss MySpace.
Also, we like pizza and ice cream.
God.
I don't know what this podcast is at this point, but I'm
wild.
It is from BK, who won't have it his way. Least favorite part about moving homes.
Moving. The packing.
So
as
someone who is about a year into having this house, which is insanity, by the way. I don't know how the hell that happened. The worst part is discovering issues that were not found before purchase was made. Because some of that shit can add up fast. Some of that shit can be expensive enough that you just have to put it off for a little bit, so long as it doesn't put you or the home in danger. And the worst part is you discover that oftentimes during renovation, which is also a pain in the ass. Let me tell you, if you buy a home that was built in the 70s that only had the same owners in that time who were old, stripping wallpaper, I would rather do numerous things. I'm trying to find the appropriate level to describe how awful it is to have to strip away 20, 30, 40-year-old wallpaper.
Oh, yeah. That's.
I don't recommend it. It is absolutely horrific. And I'm still trying to mentally recover from the anguish I went under about a year ago.
I've done some home reno, and a lot of the houses here in Toronto are old as shit. Completely just old as hell. And the amount of times that I've had to rip off wallpaper, oh my god, it's terrible. Wallpaper is great in theory, but oh my god, it's terrible after that thing's been on there for more than maybe 9 months. After 9 months, that shit's you're done. It's gonna be just. That's why they just put more on top. They don't take it off. They just put more because it's stuck. You're fuck it, whatever.
The best is when they paint over the wallpaper.
Oh no! God,
all right, new topic. This is the worst. Holy shit! Oh my god! Sin hit the nail on the head. The moving part. Unless you're super excited to get away from where you were.
Oh my god!
Just the idea of having to leave a comfort area and try to establish a new comfort area. It's not easy. It's not.
Can I go on?
Next question.
Oh, okay.
No, you know what? Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Get your
Sin went
out,
on a
children.
tangent. I can't stop you.
It's time for a story. So basically, I can talk about this because we did move within 2 years ago to this new place. The place we were at before, which I kind of just showed up and went, "Hey, I'm gonna live here." She's like, "All right, cool," and it was bad. It was terrible. Inspections came through all the time for cockroaches and shit. It was bad. And when we moved over to this new place, we have 3 times the space, 3 times the maneuverability. And I shit you not, we've finally started to use all of the space. After like almost 2 years of being in here, because we finally have a fucking couch. So like the worst part about moving is when you don't unpack everything, or when you just kind of like you kind of leave it off to the side a little bit, just have it there.
I literally have a box of shit in my closet that I don't have a place.
Oh my god.
We have a dedicated room for that at the moment. I think everyone has that.
Yeah.
Most people have that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like we have stuff from the old for the people who actually own this place because we're just renting off of them, and we bring it down to the storage in the basement so they can take it up and bring it back to wherever they have their actual storage, and like there's still stuff like there that we don't even use that we just can't put down there because it's still filled up. Oh hi cat. Yeah, but yeah, that's the worst part of moving is when you just delay things off to the point that like years later you just kind of still have to deal with it. You're kind of like, yeah, we'll move eventually anyways. What's the point of taking this out and doing it all over again?
Yeah, pretty much. It's not the most fun process. Next question. We move into hockey to segue here. From Racing Jays, and I believe this is for me. Will you try to attend the World Juniors with them being held on the East Coast? It was confirmed the World Juniors will be held in Halifax and Moncton.
Damn.
Moncton for me is I think a little bit over a 3-hour drive. So if there were games on the weekend, I'd probably be able to swing it. Like finally the Canadian border, it's getting a little bit easier. I'm really hoping that this summer I can finally start exploring the eastern shores of Canada a little bit more. But yeah, I believe Moncton's about 3 hours away. Halifax is, I think like 5.5, 6 or something like that because it's the coastline. You can't just straight shot it. You got to go up and then down to get to Halifax. So I'd say I have a better shot of making it to Moncton. I'm going to try. I mean, obviously, I've never been to anything World Juniors related. I think it could be a hell of a lot of fun. So fingers crossed. And who knows? I mean, Endo, it's just a quick flight away.
Yeah.
Potentially.
We'll see how things are going to go this during that time. I'd love to go.
It's this winter, right? Like, who the hell knows? Problem being, I really do want to get to the Winter Classic at Fenway between the Bruins and the Penguins this upcoming January. So that might be a little bit too much. Might be stretching myself too thin. We shall see. But I hope to make it. It would be awesome to go to the World Juniors.
Yeah, I also did say I wanted to go to that game regardless too, just to go to a Winter Classic because I've had like two in Toronto, and I haven't gone to them, so I have to go to one. Now that I have I'm kind of like on my own kind of thing now. I can just do whatever the fuck I want. I'm like, why don't I just go places? Like, when I was younger, I always thought that I would never be financially available to do things. But now I'm kind of like, oh shit, I can just not eat for a month, and then I have enough to buy a ticket to go somewhere.
I can financially afford to not eat for a month to go somewhere.
Hey, listen, some guy said that you could spend $150 a month in Toronto on fucking dinner, on lunch, on food for a whole month. $150 a month? Are you kidding me? Dude's probably eating fucking Mr. Noodles, ramen, and instant fucking scrambled eggs or some shit. That's ridiculous.
It's absolutely beautiful. Our final question comes from Mr. Smoot in the Shell, who I happen to have it autocorrect to Smooth. So, Smoot in the Shell. Smooth, and here I thought you'd go Rob Thomas. With Callie Klang, Ducks goaltending prospect, signing his ELC, and with Lucas Dolstall developing, another Ducks goalie prospect, and Anthony Stolarz doing an exceptional job this season, do the Ducks move on from John Gibson?
No.
Sell high. Yes, sell high.
Is his contract up, or does he have
I think he's up.
1 year left?
I think he has a year left.
I think he does too, and to be honest, holy shit.
2 years?
John Gibson is signed for $6.4 million per until 2027.
Holy shit. Why
fuck.
This was the third year of an 8-year extension.
Oh, man. Why'd I think it was?
I don't know.
Okay. I still think they should sell high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
he still has
you sell him and then you're getting. So he was in year 3. Oh man, so it's still 5 more years. Yeah, someone's picking up a 5-year tab. That might be tough. That'll bring down the value maybe.
He has a 10-team no trade list as well, but his value is still high.
I would definitely
say his reputation. His reputation is still pretty damn solid, despite the fact that his highest save percentage in the last 3 years is a .904.
Oof.
Now you could say again, and that's where he retains the value. Are his numbers down because of him, the team, or both?
Yeah, look at the year.
And you're not going to know until you get him out of that circumstance, or until the Ducks are good again. And if he's still struggling, then you know it was him.
Yeah, the last year they made the playoffs when the Sharks swept them. He absolutely carried that team into the playoffs. They really had no business being there. I'm pretty sure. But he's been that good. And just honestly, if you watch the guy and just how hard he would try to carry that fucking team, he should still have really good value. But I don't know how the Ducks would sell high on him if people are just look at those numbers. They're going to use that as a bargaining chip for sure. But he should. Honestly, I still think he's one of the better goalies in the league. And the fact of the matter is he's on a shit team. But when they weren't completely shit, he was posting really good numbers.
It's funny because you look back now at the past few seasons, and I'm trying to get the numbers here for who would have been his backup at the time. And this season, Anthony Stolarz was referenced as doing really well, and if I'm not mistaken, he was approaching, and I can get the exact numbers here. Anthony Stolarz this year had a .917 save percentage to John Gibson's .904, with Gibson getting 56 starts, and Stolarz had 23 starts with 28 appearances. So that's always the question, right? And that was always one of my big conversations in regards to Carey Price. You look at, he's behind a bad Montreal team and his numbers are bad. Okay, but then you have a goalie like Antti Raanta, who, don't worry, we'll talk about in a bit, on Arizona at the time, on pretty much an equally shit team, but he was close to a .920, .930. But then again, you get into the talks of, okay, both shit teams, but different systems.
Arizona's always had a good system for goaltenders.
Oh, yeah.
Think about Briz.
Last year as well for the Ducks, Gibson had a .903 in 35 games. Stolarz had the .926 in 8 games. And Ryan Miller was technically the backup at that point still.
Wow.
Which is really weird. And then now 3 seasons ago, it was, Gibson a .904, Miller had a .907, Stolarz had 1 appearance with a .944. So for whatever reason, Anthony Stolarz in that Ducks system works. It's the question, right? John Gibson is now 28. He'll turn 29 in July. Is he the guy for when they turn around, or are you already looking at your Calle Clangs, your Lucas Dostals of the world? And if so, then Stolarz can be that stopgap and then transition into a 1B role once the young guys are ready. I would seriously explore moving on from John Gibson, because while the goalie market's always so unpredictable in terms of who might be out there looking. Philadelphia. For a goalie who might be able to stop a puck. No disrespect to Carter Hart at this stage. The Buffalo Sabres. I mean, you got Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, but are you still going to rock with Craig Anderson and Dustin Tokarski and Michael Hauser until he's ready? I don't know. I think there are teams out there that could be interesting. So I would expect it, if anything. So with that, we'll move on to some of our other topics. Again, thank you to all of you on the Discord. We appreciate you. A couple of non-playoff topics that popped up over the past few days that I at least wanted to acknowledge. The Winnipeg Jets did re-sign GM Kevin Cheveldayoff, but a staff overhaul is planned outside of that. Chevy has been the Jets GM since they came back. If I was a Jets fan, I don't know how I would feel about this at this stage. To me, it doesn't even have the reasoning of like when Montreal was like, yeah, we're going to stick with Marc Bergevin because we made the cup final, because you've now missed the playoff. Like, you've missed the playoffs. You made it to the conference final 4 years ago. 2018 was when they made it to the conference final. I don't know. If I'm a Jets fan, I'd sit here and be rooting for a change of the guard and a different vision, personally. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how Jets fans feel about it either. I'd be very intrigued to know just how they feel about it, because it doesn't seem on paper like it's the right move, but maybe it will age a little bit better. The Red Wings dropped head coach Jeff Blashill, which is a great move. Obviously Steve Yzerman, complimentary, but at the same time, I think all Wings fans were kind of hopeful and knew that, yeah, he's not the guy to lead them forward. But a name that's popping out there who might be of interest for the Red Wings, Joel Quenneville. He would have to be reinstated by Gary Bettman. I'm sure he would be if a team like Detroit's like, yep, we want to hire him.
Yeah.
And I don't want to throw this person under the bus. And I'm trying to find the exact tweet. And by the way, I had to look as I'm scrolling through my Twitter timeline. Shout out to the 30 or so people that have unfollowed me on Twitter in the past 3 days. I guess the Bruins tweets are a bit too much. Sorry. God, where was that exact tweet? Apology. Okay, it was from Andy Strickland. And I don't want to necessarily throw Andy Strickland under the bus, Blues reporter for Bally Sports. But this was the tweet verbatim. Expect hashtag NHL teams to inquire about hiring Joel Quenneville as their head coach. Here he wants back behind the bench. Of course he does. And there is expected to be significant interest in the future Hall of Famer. Q will need to meet with Commissioner Gary Bettman to be reinstated. Yeah, Andy, did you have to throw in future Hall of Famer when talking about Joel Quenneville? Is that the most relevant thing to mention about Joel Quenneville? Or would it be more relevant to mention why he's currently out of a job and why he's not behind the bench for the Florida Panthers and his actions that directly led to that? But whether or not Andy intended it or not, that tweet does 100% read like we all knew it would. You're talented enough, you're good at your job, you'll get another chance probably.
Yep.
That's how it works in sports. That's just how it works. Like, literally, unless you are Aaron Hernandez and killed somebody, odds are you will get another chance if you're not in jail. If you're not in jail and the crime isn't... I want to say, what crime do you have to commit, in a sense, to not be given another chance? I mean, Jesus, we've... whether or not it be in the NFL side of things, okay, you can... I mean, how many incidents have there been of domestic violence up this person's back? Oh, shit, Adrian Peterson's the best running back of all time. Oh, he did this, hit his kid. Whatever, he's good. Bring him back. It's another one of those stories. I'm sure he'll be back. Detroit might win a Stanley Cup with him as their head coach. It's going to be gross, though. It's going to be gross. I'll leave it at that. The Canucks, another questionable front office, potentially. Not committing to bringing back Bruce Boudreau after the turnaround they had this season.
Weird. I don't understand them saying this. It's so weird. Was he hired by Benning or was he brought in by the new people? I can't remember exactly how that went.
I can try to find that specific timeline really quickly. But the word in the news is essentially not wanting to commit off of half a season, despite that incredible turnaround.
I guess it makes sense, but here's the thing: why say that? Isn't he signed for another year?
I don't know. I think he was just interim.
Oh,
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if he's under contract, and he might want something that's 3 years, and they're apparently only willing to give out a 1-year deal. From the sounds of it. Again, if we're missing stuff that might be slightly out of date at this point, hey, let me know. But still, just bizarre. Now, he was appointed coach December 5th. And yeah, it must have been a Benning thing because Patrick Alvan was brought on as GM on January 26th. So maybe it is an instance of the GM not wanting the head coach, even though he was essentially gifted to you. As interesting as the playoffs are, there have been some interesting things outside of them with some of these front office moves that are very, very interesting from the likes of course, Vancouver, Winnipeg, and Detroit. And the last thing I wanted to mention, Gary Bettman was quoted in saying that the league apparently is not interested in expanding the NHL playoffs beyond 16 teams. Obviously, the NFL recently keeps expanding the wild card. The NBA has the whole mini play-in thing, and they're apparently not looking to do that, which I am very happy about.
Yeah.
It's a 32-team league, 16 playoff teams. Done. That's all you need.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we shouldn't expand it, but they should. Yeah. The format.
Well, the reason you expand it's money, 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 of course, and
True, but
extra, more important TV games and shit like that, which it just waters down the product.
I think so too.
So, with that, let's get into talking about the. Oh God, I just remembered what the first game is. We have to talk.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay. Let's get in.
Fish.
The fucking fish! It's not a bear, it's a fucking fish!
If there's a bear back there taking a shit, then he comes out and eats the fish. Then it's a bear.
Then it's a bear.
That whole thing was a fever dream, by the way. So, what they are alluding towards, everybody, for those who didn't see it, on my main channel, I am doing recaps for each playoff games. These were quotes from my Game 1 recap, which was a 26-minute rant. Really a deep dive into the soul. The Carolina Hurricanes on Monday, night 1 of the playoffs, beat the Boston Bruins 5-1 in game number 1. Hurricanes have 5 different goal scorers. I will mention, I saw the stat today that this was the most viewed hockey game on ESPN since opening night, and apparently the highest viewed opening game of the NHL playoffs in 20 years. So again, the ESPN deal continues to be fantastic for the league. I don't know how much more there is I can say about this game that I did not say in that review. Just brutal. Like, again, I believe the scoring at this stage was 22-2?
Or maybe 3, because didn't you score like a couple
21-2, 21-3 at that point.
23-3. I don't remember, but yeah.
I believe I'm gonna go with it was 21-3, and this would have been the 4th game of the season against the Hurricanes. And yeah, 4th game of the season against the Hurricanes, being outscored 21-3 in that time. Pretty much says it all. The only thing I can say is what I again say in the video is a lot of people took a more optimistic approach and attitude of, well, they played really well. The score doesn't really represent how close the game was. And to that, of course, I'll say what I said then. I don't care. I don't care. They have gotten destroyed by the Hurricanes, controlled by the Hurricanes the entire season. And they lost again by 4 in game 1. I don't care how well you play. You can play as well as you want to. It is a best-of-7 series. I would rather be the team that gets dominated but wins than be the team that dominates but loses. Boys, I don't know if you have any thoughts on Game 1, Canes and Bruins. Obviously, we'll have Game 2 to talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah,
but
I didn't watch any of that one. I was busy watching the next one that we're going to talk about. But yeah, it just seems like the Canes absolutely have the Bruins number, and I'm with you. I don't think it matters the deserve to win a meter or how it looked on. Like, you're not getting the results. This is not an isolated incident. Like, you know, this is what's been happening all year. So, yeah, I still can't believe the Bruins didn't add offense at the deadline.
Oh my God. I think the deserve to win a meter is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Sorry to go off of that. Just
Go ahead.
It's like, oh, you know, we deserve to win. Does the score say that? Because the score says you fucking lost. Like,
it's, you know, it's not a video game in a sense. Like, you know, if you're playing Hut in NHL 22 and you outshoot someone 26-4 and have 10 minutes of time on attack to a minute and a half and you lose 3-1, yeah, obviously that's going to be super frustrating. But this is the real life sport in terms of deserving to win, I'm sorry, it doesn't exist. You scored the goal or you didn't score the goal. You can say, oh, I don't define like, oh, you hit the post. I don't define that as unlucky. You missed. What's unlucky about missing? You did not shoot into the goal. You hit the frame. You missed. Sin pretty much brought up one of the triggers for me in the past couple of months, which is why I almost cut off Endo. In that, God, let's just talk about Game 2 now. Why not? Maybe we'll skip ahead. Maybe I'll just change up the format of the sheet here as we go along. Game 2 happened last night on Wednesday. The Carolina Hurricanes won this game 5-2 and now have a 2-0 series lead. Bergeron scored two goals. Aho did as well for the Hurricanes. Nino Niederreiter also scored 2 goals. He now has 3 goals in 2 games. Fuck me. This game was highlighted, I'd say, by the fact, well, there were a couple of notable moments. God. So, first and foremost, in the first period, the Antti Raanta contact with David Pastrnak, which led to Raanta being out of the game for the rest of Game 2. I still don't know if there's word about his availability for Game number 3. For those who didn't see the play, Raanta not saying that it's his fault he got hit, but in my opinion, makes a little bit of a late move to play a puck off a bounce, off the back wall, which is fine. He's entitled to do that. Plays it out. I felt like Pastrnak was playing really hard to try and beat him to the puck. He does not. Pastrnak, in my opinion, tries to sidestep him, but in the process puts his hands out, I say, to protect himself from contact. But in the process, he essentially punches Antti Raanta in the fucking face. And throughout, whether or not the helmet rattled around, I think Raanta ended up on the ice and might have gotten almost kicked in the head by a teammate accidentally. It was a really weird situation where you look at the play and it's like, what the hell even happened there? But the bottom line was, there was contact from David Pastrnak that resulted in Antti Raanta getting injured. It was a 2-minute penalty on the ice, which, call me biased, I'm sure you will if you disagree, I felt was fair. People were shouting out blood. It's not like it was blood from a high stick. For fuck's sake, it's a goalie and he's wearing a cage. I just felt like it was a very unfortunate set of circumstances that the Bruins were properly penalized for. And at the end of the day, granted, in this league, we do at times penalize for the severity of the injury to the player. I don't feel like this was one of those circumstances where it would have made sense to do that, in a sense. I don't think the infraction fit the outcome. But yeah, no doubt David Pastrnak was at fault. And it worked out tremendously well for the Hurricanes, but obviously I would prefer my team don't win by injuring an opposing team's goaltender. And as Leafs fans know, injuring Carolina goaltenders doesn't exactly guarantee a win. Shout out to David Ayers. You're welcome, Endo.
Fuck you.
I don't really have too much to add about this specific thing. I simply don't agree. And if the shoe was on the other foot, yeah, maybe I'd have a different opinion. I simply don't agree that this was 5-minute major worthy.
I didn't even get what happened. It looked like such an innocent play. I honestly felt like Bergeron was just trying to keep his balance. Because he went for the shot block. His hands were down. Like, he went into a shot block form. It wasn't like he had 2 hands on his stick. He kind of went to that shot block form where your hands kind of go around your midsection. And then he tries to swerve out of the way, and from that, I think reaction puts his hands out to stabilize himself, maybe even to keep distance between him and Antti Raanta. But yeah, he ends up making contact with his helmet and shit. I still don't get how Raanta was bleeding, but he was. I don't think it deserved anything more than a minor either. Besides, maybe a double minor just because of blood. But again, he has a mask. It's not a position player.
Yeah, and I mean, you watch it, it's just it looks like, and again, the thing is, the human body's a bit fragile. Like, I've seen a lot of people, Bruins fans saying, and even non-Bruins fans mentioning that it wasn't the craziest amount of contact in the world. You don't need a crazy amount of contact to cause a head injury.
Yeah.
Doesn't always have to be the most violent, traumatic hit like we would see later on in this game. I think it's just a super unfortunate outcome. You watch the play, you could maybe even say that Pasternak is trying to avoid the follow-through of the stick from Raanta. Ends up colliding with his leg. It's just a super weird play with a super unfortunate injury. But I'm sorry, I can't disagree. I mean, people are acting like this is Lucic and Ryan Miller.
Yeah, it's not even close.
And for fuck's sake, calm down. Calm down. Like, you're out to lunch if you're making that comparison. And I saw someone else being like, oh, it's like Pasternak used him as a human brake to stop. Again, if I vehemently disagree if you think it's anything more than 2 minutes or if you think this was some intentional act on David Pasternak's part to injure Antti Raanta. I'm sorry. I think you are wrong. End of. So Raanta is replaced by rookie goaltender Peter Kochetkov, or Kochkov, whatever the hell you prefer.
Oh, man.
Making his 4th NHL appearance, he stops 29 of 28. 28 of 29. It felt like 29 of 28. Holy fuck. Again, we talked about him before when Freddie Anderson, in our season or playoff preview, we talked about this with Freddie Anderson being out. Great numbers in the KHL, good numbers in the AHL as well. And then, of course, steps in here and stops all but one.
And he manages to get in the head of Marchand, too. Like, he just did everything. I'm sorry, but, like this is it's literally Murphy's Law scenario for the Bruins in this series. Like,
so what Sin's referencing is there's a moment, I believe, in the third period where Brad Marchand slashes Kochetkov, or Kochkov, whatever. I'm going to go Kochetkov, who slashes back at Marchand, rightfully so. Marchand was fined $5,000. Some people surprised it wasn't a suspension after he got into it with Tristan Jarry earlier this season, which I would, in a sense, disagree. I will say that Brad Marchand being a suspension for a game might be a positive for the Boston Bruins, as the ESPN scoreboard loves to point out. He has not scored a goal in 15 games, and that last goal was an empty netter. I am still convinced he is hurt because he is playing some of the worst hockey of his career. Unfortunately, and Sin kind of mentioned this, Brad Marchand, I don't want to call him ineffective at this point, but the antics are not working like they used to, buddy. They're not. Yeah. For the Bruins in general, I will never sit there and deny the Bruins. Granted, some stuff, in my opinion, over the years, a little bit overblown. In terms of some of the outlandish takes. But at the same time, have the Bruins earned their reputation of playing on the edge is perhaps an understatement at times. Yeah, they've earned that. Has Brad Marchand earned his reputation? Yes. And in the past, have antics like this for Brad Marchand worked in terms of getting into the opposition's head, and as a result, it benefiting the Bruins? Yes. Does that work anymore? No, it doesn't. Tampa's proved in the playoffs that doesn't work anymore. And I'm sorry, but Carolina here essentially passed the punk test. The fan in the crowd that flinched when Tomas Nosek fake punched him, he didn't pass the flinch test. But the Hurricanes have. They're in that class of the Tampa Bay Lightning where, I'm sorry, Brad, this shit's not going to work. You're not likely to end up getting into the opposition's head. You are not likely to find success in playing the role that has brought you so much success, which means right now you're having to rely on the skill of your game, and you are not finding the back of the net if your life depended on it at the moment. And then, Andrei Sriracha. Now look, a lot of people were sharing the clip of the Nesson coverage of this, where Jack Edwards' initial reaction to the hit, surprise, surprise, he viewed this as a incredibly dirty hit, and this is the clip that's circulating on Reddit, and everyone's like, oh my god, Jack Edwards. Again, you are watching local broadcast coverage. I don't care what team you root for. Oh, my Florida Panthers commentators aren't that biased. Have someone from the Sharks. Have Sharks Panthers and have a Sharks fan like Sin listen to that Panthers broadcast. He's going to find them biased. That's their job. It is, at the end of the day, to appeal and essentially be a homer for the broadcast region they are broadcasting for. It's not a fucking ESPN broadcast. It's not the NFL on CBS. And even then, some people are like, oh man, Troy Aikman, he's really, and then again, Troy Aikman's Fox. Oh, he's really biased for the Cowboys. I fucking wonder why. Like, my God. Oh, I shared this clip of Jack Edwards and he was biased for the Bruins. And water's wet, you fucking moron. Like, what are you expecting? Holy shit. Regardless, Cevechnikov hits Hampus Lindholm essentially after a suicide pass. Clean hit. That's my take as a Bruins fan. You can watch the hit. I'm sorry. I don't think, and I swear this is becoming common practice because the NHL has allowed it to get to this point. Any hit that might result with some, maybe even slightly, potentially, oh my God, was it neck height? That's a headshot. Any hit where the shoulder might look like it's higher than waist height, people have to be like, is that a headshot? And that's the NHL's fault. This was a clean hit. End of the day. It's a hard-nosed play. Clean hit. And the unfortunate, I will continue to emphasize clean hit here, by the way, in case people fucking lose their minds. The unfortunate outcome of it is that Hampus Lindholm gets hurt. You know, I'm watching the hit right now on the way down. His shoulder hits the ice. His head whiplashes back. It doesn't hit the ice. But a clean hit through the body at the principal point of contact is going to result in the head rocking back. And then when you land again, obviously when you're trying to land, you're going to tuck your chin, and then that's going to rock the head back again. I'm not a doctor. I don't know his diagnosis. He most likely has a concussion.
Yeah, so...
Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah, so concussions are basically meant on the brain itself hitting the back of the fucking skull. So,
yeah,
any form of contact that results in the brain moving can form a concussion. Typically, you might not even hit the fucking ice with your head, you can get a concussion. I had a concussion once when someone ran into me and then my brain went to the back of my fucking skull, and I was out for maybe like three weeks because of concussion-like symptoms. Same thing with Ranta's situation. Like, the way that he got hit, it doesn't seem like a lot, but any sort of movement that makes the brain move in a certain way can affect the outcome of having a concussion. He was completely rocked, like 100%. Like, he was out. He tried to get back up, and like Allmark, just stay down. Like, honestly, you have no balance whatsoever. I hope he's gonna be fine, but I don't think he's gonna be back for the rest of the series.
It wasn't very pretty as he tried to get back to his feet.
Yeah, I hate seeing that shit. Like, that's one of the most chilling things.
Yeah. So, at this stage, Hampus Lindholm will miss Game 3. That is confirmed, and he is likely out for more. And Linus Ullmark, well, I don't think it's his fault. The Bruins have allowed 10 goals. Granted, there's some empty netters in there. They have allowed 10 goals in 2 games. It is confirmed Jeremy Swayman will start Game 3. Why not? Give it a shot, see what happens. What's the worst that can happen, essentially, by letting Jeremy Swayman in there? Hopefully it is the spark, but Sin mentioned it earlier, and we'll call back to it. My rants on numerous occasions about the Bruins not adding to the forward core at the deadline. Yes, Erik Haula has played quite well since the deadline. Erik Haula was, and again, I'm not shaming the guy. I'm not saying you can't be a tough person at 5'10". Erik Haula got punked by rookie Seth Jarvis on the ice last night. Like, I'm sorry, but the optics of a rookie like Seth Jarvis, you want to talk about the minutia of a hockey game and what the Bruins try to do in terms of intimidating and getting under the opposition's skin. And instead for Carolina, you have Seth fucking Jarvis essentially punking Erik Haula. Again, Brad, that shit's not working. It's not. And that said all that I needed to see through the first 2 games, and of course the score only backs it up. without Hampus Lindholm. And again, game one, I said, oh, look at that. The Hampus Lindholm acquisition really paid off. And I was met with, oh, Hampus Lindholm played really well. He did. He was playing well in game two before the injury. It's not helping him score goals, is it? The idea, the logic behind Hampus Lindholm being acquired is the Bruins' defense is going to be that much more airtight. And this offense, while maybe not amazing, will be able to grind out the goals and be fine. That is not happening. 10 goals, you could say 8 if you want to exclude the empty netters, in 2 games. The defense is not doing good enough. They are being outworked, and the goaltending hasn't been good enough, and the offense isn't scoring. And now, to my point, the defense last night was Grzelcyk McAvoy. It wasn't even Lindholm McAvoy on that top pair like it was supposed to be. It was Lindholm with Carlo and then Forbort and Clifton. Again, to my point of the Bruins and being completely mismanaged, that means $3 million cap hit, Mike Riley was scratched. That is mismanagement.
Yeah.
1,000%.
His analytics are incredible. Like, way better than...
But the eye test, Sid. The eye
Fuck
test.
the eye test. Like, at this point, it's crazy. Especially if he's making $3 million. Like, you should be striving to play that guy. Just because you don't... It's the optics of him fucking sitting should be worse than the eye test of... yeah, I don't know, man.
That's my point.
Yeah.
If he is so bad that the eye test overrules what analytics are telling you, right?
You play him anyway because you don't want to have his $3 million guys sitting in your press box.
Exactly.
That's why Vlasic kept getting fucking ice time, man. It's a little different scenario, but you know.
You fucked up in terms of management. And that is leading me to my greater point here. Because if you have Connor Clifton who's only making $1 million, you scratch him, it's not a big deal. There is no reason why Derek Forbort and Connor Clifton should have been in the lineup for the first 2 games. Zero reason as to why Mike Riley should not have been playing. And now he's in, he'll probably play like shit, and people will be like, oh, I told you so. But no, the I told you so comes from me. And that is that when, and I'm saying when at this point, prove me fucking wrong, Boston. When the Bruins lose this series, I am begging, I am pleading for a new GM and a new head coach. I'm done with this era of management. Even Cam Neely above Don Sweeney, I'm done. I need a new set of voices and a new direction for the Boston Bruins because I have been quoted in saying and will continue to say they approached this offseason from a half-in, half-out situation where they could have gone all in. You still have more draft picks to let go of. I don't care how good Fabian Lascelles doing for the WHL Vancouver Giants. I don't care about, John Beecher was a first-round pick. You cannot ride the fence here when you have killers in your own division. Think about how good the Atlantic was with Florida, with Toronto, with Tampa. And you're going to ride the fence and hope that, Hampus Lindholm and Josh Brown, we're good. You're getting what you deserve right now. You are 100% getting what you deserve right now. And I can only hope that if this goes as poorly as it looks like it's going to, that those changes are made. And that we get new owners, or not even, new ownership would be a godsend. We get new management and a new head coach. I am ready for this team to move on to a different era. Again, we have no idea what the hell is going to happen with Patrice Bergeron. His deal's up at the end of the year. He's 36. Might he retire? We don't know. But you carried this offense into the playoffs. This was the horse you chose to back, and now here's your bed. Fucking SpongeBob meme with the casket. Okay, hop in. This is what you wanted. This is what you're getting. This is what you deserve. It is 2 games down in the best-of-7 series. They still have time to come back. I'm not holding my breath because they have given me no reason whatsoever to have confidence through these first 2 games and now 5 games in general this season against Carolina. Okay, I feel better.
There you go.
Let's talk about the Leafs and Lightning, shall we?
Yay!
Yeah.
On Monday, the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 5-1, or 5-0, in Game 1. Holy hell.
Yeah, they looked good.
Now, Game 1 starts off with a bang. And that bang is Kyle Clifford hitting Ross Colton right in the numbers and getting ejected from the game like a fucking idiot and suspended for game 2. One of the lowest hockey IQ plays I have ever seen at the NHL level.
The lowest IQ plays in general.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, he lays a perfectly fine hit at the other side of the ice. Great. And then he goes and just, why?
Again, you scratched Jason Spezza for that.
Jason
Game 1.
Spezza was still scratched in game 2, wasn't he?
I actually don't know the answer to that.
think
I
so,
presume
yeah.
he might have been, because Bunting came back, right? And he just would have replaced Clifton.
Yeah. And then that, what's his name, was playing center for the fourth line still. I don't know. I saw the lines where they had Nylander. Blackwell. I saw the lines where they had Nylander on there twice. Just
no Spezza tonight, yeah. Or last night, I should say.
I can't believe you're not playing Jason Spezza.
Yeah,
so
they were saying though that line, I believe that like Blackwell is like Blackwell, Simmons, and who's the other one? I can't remember. But that line apparently has like the most, like it was like Mikheyev, but that line has played like the most minutes together. Like it's like the top 6, like most like on the ice, and they've done well.
Well, in game 2 they had a 20% expected goals for. So
yeah, we'll talk about game 2 in a moment. We'll speak to the positives of game 1 really quickly though. Aside from, of course, the Clifford ejection, Austin Matthews scored 2 goals. Mitch Marner got that monkey off his back to be able to score a goal super early into this series. There was a gigantic line brawl in the 3rd period where Morgan Riley proved that he could be an axe murderer if he wanted to.
One punch.
And Jack Campbell gets a shutout as, again, the Leafs totally catch Tampa off guard and run the show 5-0.
Really good. Their penalty kill was solid. I haven't watched a ton of the Leafs, but I always kept hearing Marner was on the PK, and then I hear Keefe saying he should be considered for the Selke, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And then I watch him on the PK, and I'm like, okay, he's developed a solid defensive game. Selke, calm the fuck down, but holy shit, he is a little water bug out there. He's fast as fuck. He's good with his stick, and I never saw that sort of tenacity from him really before, and I was impressed. And it was leading to shorthanded chances, and you saw in other players what I oftentimes when I judge other players, I kind of judge by the reactions of the players that they're up against. Stamkos fucking full panic mode when he knew that Marner was behind him trying to strip him of the puck, like diving out to try to save the puck, and I was like, dude, you got Stamkos doing that. Like, yeah, Marner looked good, and the Leafs just knew Lightning had no answer for him in that period. Their power play was awful. They couldn't enter the zone cleanly, and the Leafs just fed off that.
Yeah, their penalty kill is the best in the league. 100%. Most goals for, 13 goals for. Like, when we talk about power kill, I keep mentioning that a lot. That is the definition of a power kill. They do not let go whatsoever. They don't sit in their zone. They attack you at your blue line. And they go at you right there and then to curve it up. When I went to go see them play against the Devils, Ilya Mikheyev was just fighting for that puck. No matter what happened, he would just go up there, attack. Because 30-second shift, then hop off, another guy comes on. Like their shits for the penalty kill is insane. It's almost as if they have a third line for the penalty kill.
Oh, they 100% do. A lot of teams do these days, but I would say they may even have like an additional, like the way that they play. But they can also get away with it more than a team like, that I watch, the Sharks, because they're a lot younger. They probably have got more stamina. Yeah, they probably have a lot. Yeah, and they're also way, way better. But yeah, that was sick. That was one thing that really stood out for me, as well as it just felt like a different team, at least in the playoffs. But yeah, then we'll talk about game 2 then, when it kind of. But I mean, you expect Tampa to push back, and push back they did.
The Lightning won last night by the score of 5-3,
made it interesting,
tying up the series at a game apiece.
It was, I would say, still out of reach early, but I guess nothing's out of reach for the Leafs totally. But they shot themselves in the foot a ton.
It was 5-1 at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think.
Yep, 5-1 in the third.
Yeah. So 5 different goal scorers for the Lightning. For the Leafs, Mitch Marner scored his second. Michael Bunting returned to the lineup and did score. There was some, quote, controversial officiating. Now, the official calls were 7 against Toronto, 4 against the Lightning. And I didn't get to watch all of this game, and you were shaking your head. Sin, you can have your input here too.
I think it was called... Here's the thing. Stop calling games, quote-unquote, fairly. Call the penalties. And I think they called the penalties. I do. I maybe a questionable one here or there, but it's probably split both ways for each team. I think they called the penalties. I thought that the Leafs were really making some stupid decisions, and then their penalty kill wasn't as effective. So if you give a team like Tampa 7 fucking chances on the power play, you can't do that. But I like that officials are calling penalties in the playoffs.
Well, that's the thing, though, right? People are never going to be happy.
No.
If they even up the calls, people will call it bullshit. If they call it as it is, people will complain that the calls aren't more even and will, further dissect certain instances and be like, well, there wasn't a call there, so it's bias. Like, we're never going to be happy with the officiating in the NHL. You just have to hope for the most egregious calls being called correctly. Lord knows the MLB is having that issue right now. I don't know if you guys saw the Marcell Ozuna at bat the other day. 3 straight clear-cut balls, all called strikes. Oh, I thought he was going to punch the umpire. Holy shit. This was another win for Vasilevsky after a playoff loss. And here is his stat line. Since 2020, Vasilevsky's record after a loss in the playoffs.
This is absurd.
15 wins, 0 losses, with a .948 save percentage, a .131 goals against average, and 5 shutouts.
Can we take that in for a second? He has 15 wins and off of a loss.
A third of them
they have not
enough to win a fucking almost enough to win a Stanley Cup alone off of losing every other game. That is nuts.
They haven't lost back-to-back games since 2020 in the playoffs. So think about that.
They won the shutouts too.
They won the fucking cup last year, everybody, and never lost back-to-back games en route to that. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity how good he is, how good the Lightning are. This was the championship mentality for the Tampa Bay Lightning. We know how battle-tested they are. They've seen it all. It is kind of viewed as a missed opportunity for the Leafs, but at the end of the day, it's a 1-1 split. People always say, okay, you're not really in trouble in a series until you don't take advantage of home ice. A lot of people are throwing that out right now in favor of the Bruins to be like, see, it's not over. I'm very intrigued to see what happens in Game 3.
Yeah.
Because we have seen it now. It's essentially been a dominating victory for each side through the first 2 games. I have no idea what the hell is going to happen in Game 3. And let's be honest, the Bruins will probably be losing early enough. I'll be able to switch right over to that Leafs Lightning game and just enjoy it for what it is.
Might be, I would love to see the Bruins bounce back at home. I think they'll have a better performance, but that Canes team seems, tough.
There is no such thing as a Bruins home ice advantage for me anymore when they lost Game 7 at home to St. Louis 4-0. There's no such thing as a home ice advantage to me anymore for the Bruins. Endo, in general, how are you feeling about the Leafs after the first 2 games?
I mean, you win some, you lose some. I mean, the way they lost it was not great. But then again, you're going against the back-to-back champs who have historically haven't lost 2 games in a row, like you said, since 2020. I think it's going to be a long series. I already said Leafs in 6, Bolts in 7, because we all know Leafs can't win a Game 7 to save their lives. I don't know what else to say besides this is going to be very entertaining the whole entire way through. They showed the reason why they're back-to-back champs, the reason why they're so good, with absolutely coming back and just dominating Leafs offensively. The Leafs had that little comeback a little bit, making it 5-3, just to make it interesting. But I think it's not going to be the same. They need to come out flying like they did Game 1 every game. That's the bare minimum for playoffs. That's bare minimum for hockey in general. But that 5th gear they put themselves into in Game 1 because they just didn't put their foot off the gas completely. Another thing too, that arena was quiet. That arena was so quiet. I'm not sure if it's because all the suits were taking up the seats and everything inside, but just you could hear a pin drop when it was 5-1 at the beginning of the third. It was too quiet in there. Fans need to get up and be loud. Needed to do something because it felt like the Lightning were just playing a home game because they didn't have to worry about the fans yelling or anything.
Well, as Endo said, you win some, you lose some. Unless you're the Bruins, where you lose some and then you lose some more.
Fish.
Also on Monday, the St. Louis Blues beat the Minnesota Wild in Game 1 4-0.
Oof.
David Perron with a hat trick on the road. UC Saros stops 37. Billy Husso. Yeah, sorry, UC Saros. Jesus, what the hell?
Oh,
what the hell? I went for a different.
Crying right now.
I'm sorry. I went for the other Finnish goaltender. Apologies for that. Yeah, Billy Husso. You know what it is? My body is rejecting praising Billy Husso because for so long he was my example of like, why the hell is this guy so highly touted? He hasn't put it together at all. And then this season he's put it together. Yeah, 37 save shutout in his first career playoff game. LOL Jordan Binnington. $6 million against the cap, I think, for like 6 more years. LOL. Yep. You've lost your job. This game, though, domination from the Blues, but it was highlighted by one particular moment that I don't know if you guys recall. Hopefully you do. If not, you can look it up.
Oh, yeah,
there was a moment
I recall
where Jared Spurgeon and Pavel Buchnevich were both down on the ice, and Jared Spurgeon essentially tried to guillotine the ankle of Pavel Buchnevich, and he only gets a $5,000 fine.
That's incredible how he only gets a fine. That's intent to injure if you've ever seen it. Sure, he didn't get injured, but again, it goes back to stop basing fucking punishment on if someone gets injured. Base it off of the offense. Like, that is horrible. It's disgusting, and it's not a hockey play. It, like, ticks all the fucking boxes of what should be a suspension. And DOPS, of course, drops the ball, and I mentioned this kind of, and I'm going to have to mention it here. It feels like they do this shit on purpose. They don't punish enough on purpose because they're like, oh, well, that's going to create the narrative for the next game. That's going to create some drama for the next game. Which means the Department of Player Safety is a fucking oxymoron because clearly they're willing to sacrifice players' safeties for ratings. Even with the new TV deal and things kicking off, they need more, and they need to push it more. I could be wrong, and maybe it's just a continued ineptitude of DOPS, but come on, man. Like, that's gross. That's absolutely gross. That's unneeded play. And then I didn't watch the second game, but I noticed Spurgeon had a big old fucking cut somewhere on his face, so I wonder if he got into it with someone.
So, I will say this before we talk about Game 2. The main clip of the Jared Spurgeon incident, which again is the clearest cut example of intent to injure I have perhaps ever seen this side of Todd Bertuzzi. Mm-hmm. The clip from Tony X on Twitter has 2 million views. Again, we've talked about how likely NHL clips are to get 1 million plus views.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of the most viewed clips in the playoffs. And it's of an example of clear-cut intent to injure that was not properly assessed the punishment it was worthy of.
Yep.
It's embarrassing for the league. It's absolutely embarrassing for the league, but they continue to be okay with it. It boggles my mind. Like, you have, as we talked about, more eyes on the product than you've had arguably in 20 years. And yet, I can't help but think, like, how do you explain to a casual who might be checking out this hockey thing? How do you explain to them that that's fine-worthy but not suspension-worthy?
Yeah.
How do you explain that? When he literally takes both hands and chops down as hard as he can. You can see the physical exertion and the effort he put in to twisting the ankle and trying to fucking maim the guy. But it's only a fine and not a suspension. It's incredible.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead to Game 3.
2
on night 3 for Wednesday. Boy, I am on my game today, aren't I? It's the Bruins talk, man. Ever since then, I've downhill. The Wild win 6-2. to tie the series up at 1-1. Eriksson Ek with 2 goals, and Kirill Kaprizov gets a hat trick. The first playoff hat trick in Wild franchise history.
That's a trip.
They have been a team for 22 years.
Yeah.
Marc-Andre Fleury gets his 91st playoff victory, putting him 1 behind Grant Fuhr for 3rd all-time.
That's nuts.
The future Hall of Famer. It's insanity. All in all, I mean, again, you see the scoreline. It speaks to it. It was a great performance again for the Minnesota Wild.
Yep.
Period.
Pushed back.
Like, it's just that's exactly what they needed to do. You don't completely squander home ice by losing both games, and it gets that momentum rolling back again, heading into Game 3 in St. Louis.
I was surprised that they got smashed the way they did in Game 1 because my prediction was that Minnesota probably going to do pretty good early on, but I think they're getting worn down by St. Louis. St. Louis taking that first game was huge for them, guaranteeing the split. And then here come the Wild, as expected. They're going to fucking crush the Blues in at least one game, and that was it. We'll see. I'm excited to see the response, though.
Absolutely. So we go to the final game on Monday, the final game, one from that first set of 4. The Los Angeles Kings
Called it.
beat the Edmonton Oilers 4-3 off the back of Philip Deno's third period winner.
Be at the end too.
With the Oilers dropping at that time their 7th straight playoff game.
Lol.
We do move forward to Wednesday though, where the Oilers win 6-0.
Could have been 12-0. Jonathan Quick.
Draisaitl got his second of the series. Evander Kane scored 2 goals. Mike Smith with the shutout.
Don't you mean the Evanderlorian?
The what?
Well, we have an episode title.
Oh, you haven't seen that? Oh my god! Yeah, they put out this graphic of Evander Kane head on a Mandalorian thing. Called it the Evanderlorian, or like May the 4th. Yeah, it was
brutal.
Disgusting.
My point here, did you guys notice the trend between Game 1 and Game 3 in all 4 series? Did you notice the trend? 3 out of the 4 series featured the team that lost in Game 1 winning in Game 2 to tie the series.
Oh, yeah.
The only team that lost both games so far are the fucking Boston Bruins.
I thought
every other team came out with a dominating, essentially convincing response. Tampa, Minnesota, Edmonton all won by what? At least 4 goals?
Tampa won by 2.
And the Bruins lost again by 3. Fuck! We go to Tuesday. And obviously these games on Tuesday, Game 2 for every series will be played tonight. Probably be played by the time these you guys are getting to this point of the podcast. The Pittsburgh Penguins beat the New York Rangers in Game 1 on Tuesday night 4-3 in triple overtime. A game that I fell asleep during for the first overtime and missed out on streaming entirely. So that was rough. I called him a star on Twitter, and I stand by it. Jake Gensel with 2 goals in that game. And someone asked, like, oh, what's your... I know, I like how you posted, like, the duality. Because one person's like, fuck yeah.
Like, who the hell's not calling Gensel a star? Literally the comment right below him. What is your definition of star? I'm totally not sandbagging here, and I'm very interested in this. Anyway, but yeah.
I don't even think I responded to that person. Like, bottom line is, Jake Gensel... Can you name 5 teams that wouldn't have an upgrade on left wing if Jake Gensel was transplanted onto their top line? You might. That's tough, though. You can't name 10. He's a star player. Yes. Period. The controversy from this game comes in the 3rd period, and I mistyped it here, but there was the waved-off goal. Capo Caco on a net drive runs into Brian Dumoulin. Announced, by the way, that Dumoulin won't be playing in Game 2, so that's a pretty big loss for Pittsburgh. Not the only loss that they have. And Philip Hedl tapped it in to get the goal. It is waved off. I've looked at this a dozen times, and my end result is that, again, this is the fault of the NHL.
Yes.
For not, again, fully clarifying a set of circumstances in a situation like this. I watch this play. My opinion, Capo Caco does make the effort to cut, and I think if there was not a defenseman, he would have cut clean atop, right outside the top of the crease, never really made contact with the crease, and I think he would have been fine. That's just how I view it off of the replays I've seen. It would have been close, but I think he would have been okay. The reason why he doesn't get that clean cut to the top of the crease is because rightfully he is allowed to do so. It's called playing defense. Brian Dumoulin defends the play and doesn't allow him to cut. So there is the contact there, perhaps initiated in a sense by Dumoulin. But this all comes down to the NHL side of things.
Yeah, and then you get into could Kakko have cut, and then if he realizes he can't, at what point is the onus on him to avoid contact in another way, which he can? And that's where I think it gets confusing as fuck, and where it leads back to the NHL. Is that like they need to clearly define goaltender interference in all these kind of circumstances. I mean, it's been enough time, right, since all these rules have been changed in the review process. Like they should have enough examples to be able to kind of cover most of the scenarios that we've seen with precedent. But the problem is the calls are so inconsistent. How the fuck do you get precedent?
That's a very, very good question. I mean, we've discussed this so many times to just ad nauseum at this stage. But again, to me, this is again another example of the NHL allowing controversy to fester. Maybe that's what they want, but allowing controversy to fester by not clearly defining their rules. I do think the people who are on the side of like Kakko made no attempt to avoid the goalie. Are you fucking insane? Do you not hear the logic? But he made no attempt to avoid the goalie. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't willingly take a penalty in that moment of a tie game in the third period by just charging at the goalie. Pretty sure. Also worth noting, shout out to Renard Lavoie on Twitter. Barclay Goodrow and Ryan Lindgren out for the Rangers tonight. So that is not a healthy series already for the Rangers and the Penguins. I don't know what the hell's going on. But that first game leads to triple frickin' overtime, where in the middle of these overtimes, Casey DeSmith, already the backup goalie, because Tristan Jarry's out with injury, Casey DeSmith is taken out and replaced by Louis Domingue, who is starting game 2 tonight with Wilkes-Barre's Alex Diorio as the backup because Jarry's still not available. The Penguins are down to their third-string goalie, but said third-string goalie was the winning goalie in game 1 as Evgeny Malkin scores on a freaking phenomenal deflection to win it in triple overtime. Igor Shesterkin.
The stat is hilarious.
Or should I say Henrik Lundqvist? Because holy shit, it's the exact same situation.
Yep.
Like literally same great goaltender, same situation. Shesterkin stops 79 of 83 and still loses.
The man, if you're saying, triple overtime, essentially he played 2 separate games. You're still averaging 40-plus shots against you. Rangers, what the fuck? How do you think this team's good enough if you're allowing that?
My God. So, there was a stat from ESPN, by the way. It says, while Pittsburgh was able to take an early series lead in triple overtime, it's difficult to keep the momentum going. Of the last 10 playoff games that went to triple overtime or later, the winner went 3-7 in the following game. So history is on the Rangers' side here a little bit, but man, with those injuries, I don't know what to think about what tonight's... Sharks. Probably.
No, it is. They won a triple overtime game against Edmonton in like 06 or 07, whatever, when Edmonton went to the Cup in the conference finals. That was our second win, and then they won 4 straight.
God. So very intrigued to see who ends up winning game 2 due to all the different injuries and circumstances. But yeah, tough loss for the Rangers to take at that stage.
So I'm looking at the goalie depth situation right now for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They are literally out of goalie options. Like, if Domingue gets hurt, they're gonna have to use Diorio, and then they're gonna have to go to their farm system in Wilkes-Barre.
E-bug.
Not even E-bug. They'll have to go to their farm system in Wilkes-Barre Scranton and call up a goalie from there.
Well,
because they only have 4 goalies on contract.
Yeah, they already did.
They already did that.
No, they'll have to do it again.
Like
no,
AHL
an AHL goalie and sign him to an NHL deal. They're out of goalies. They're gonna have to call up. Actually, my buddy of mine. This is slightly
They're gonna have to
biased.
sign
He's gonna have to
someone,
get called
essentially.
up. Yeah, they'll have to sign their top goalie right now. If I can look it up right here.
I wonder if they could bring over Joel Blomqvist from Finland. He played 20 games for Karpat this season with a .940 save percentage at 20 years old. Maybe they can bring him over and he'll just go full Cam Ward, Tristan Jarry, whatever the fuck.
It all depends, because their other option in their franchise right now would be... Hold on, let me see.
Taylor Gauthier, too.
Yeah, Taylor Gauthier as well. He's on. I think he's on an NHL deal. Would be...
he is,
let's see. Samuel Harvey, who played in the A. Would be Matt Jurisic or Tommy Napier. I'm biased because that's my buddy who plays in Wilkes-Barre. I want him to get a shot to go up. Are you kidding me? Just to get the extra pay? That's nuts.
Well, no disrespect, Tommy, but the team's fucked if it gets to that point.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. The other three series, we'll go Washington and Florida, where the Caps take game one 4-2. Three different goals scorers, I believe, in the third period. It was a 3-goal third period for the Caps. They had 4 different goal scorers in the game. Confirmed Tom Wilson's out for game 2, but...
I was going to say, what did he do? But I don't remember seeing it on social media, so is he injured?
He's hurt. He's hurt, yeah. Day-to-day with a lower body injury, as it's being called. Florida losing game 1, that is massive. Like, we'll talk about the next game. A favorite making a statement in game 1. This was not a statement from the Florida Panthers. This is a big game 2 tonight that they need to win. You go down 0-2 to Washington before heading to Washington, it's looking shaky all of a sudden, you know?
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. I mean, Washington's got a shit ton of experience, but you just kind of figured the Panthers maybe have all the skill in the fucking world to beat anyone, but that's kind of what we came back to and what our one X factor in speculation. Do they play too wide open of a game for the playoffs, and will that fly? It didn't in game 1, clearly. We'll see what happens in game 2, but yeah, I will be pissed if they lose this, and then at that point I'll have no choice but to say Joe Thornton is cursed.
That other game I was referring to, the Colorado Avalanche beat the Nashville Predators in game 1, 7-2. Colorado was up 5-0 at the end of the first period.
Not ideal, said the social media manager or something.
God, who was that? The player for the Titans who thought it was 2-0 Nashville, and he's like, yeah, and the admin on Twitter's like, Taylor, we're not winning.
Yeah, something like that.
He's like, well, shouldn't it be 0-2 then?
Yep. Yeah, that was
beautiful.
Hilarious.
Nathan McKinnon with 2 goals.
The best Twitter. I swear to God, their team. I mean, shout out to them giving tickets to Rahil, good friend of all of ours, Real Chocolate Thunder. That's insane. Nuts.
For Nashville, the only real bright spots, Matt Duchene scored both goals for the Preds. Again, he's had an amazing season. Confirmed that the Preds are going to start goaltender Connor Ingram in game 2.
He's going to Zatkov. He's going to Zatkov in your face.
Is Dave Riddick signed for them through next year?
I believe so.
That's what I'm trying to check right now, because holy shit if he is. Nope, he's up at the end of the year. I can't imagine he'll ever play a game for the Nashville Predators again.
I can't imagine he'll ever play a game in the NHL again.
Yeah. See you in Sweden.
For Colorado, fucking Andrew Cogliano's out in game 2. He scored in game 1, looked pretty good. But yeah, game 2 tonight. Can't imagine it's going to go much better for Nashville. We shall see. But it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, again, Colorado, granted, people were bringing up the comparisons of Colorado-Vegas from last year, where Colorado started off with a dominant game 1 victory and then lost. Yeah, Nashville's not Vegas.
No.
Because they're in the playoffs!
Damn it! No!
Bam!
Mine! That was mine, Tougie. You fuck.
I beat him to it!
It was a race.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
Oh,
my God.
oh, I'm so happy right now. And then Calgary beat Dallas 1-0. Elias Lindholm scored in the first period, and that was it.
Daryl Sutter.
Markstrom with the shutout. Dallas, you're probably boned.
Daryl Sutter. Yeah, and wait till their offense starts scoring on top of shutting you down. That was the most Daryl Sutter fucking game ever, dude.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it's such a...
Again, for Dallas, too. Top line doesn't score. Look what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Remember when their top line had Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin? And now it's Rupe Hintz, Joe Pavelski, and I don't know, some guy who's
Pepperidge
irrelevant.
Farm remembers.
So, by the way, the Dallas line's on cap friendly, according to them, 4 hours ago. Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski, Raffle, Ben Gurionov, Glendening, Sagan, Nemesnikov.
That is interesting.
I mean, in theory, Hintz, Ben, Sagan as your center is not bad. But at the same time, like, respect to Michael Raffle, he had a really physical game one. But your second line is Raffle, Ben, and Gurionov. I thought the Bruins had some depth questions. Holy balls.
That sounds like a punching line. I don't know why. Just any line with like Jamie Benn on there just sounds like it's an immediate.
I mean, Raffle and Ben are... Well, Raffle's physical, Ben's a cheap shot artist.
Yeah.
And then Gurionov's got some skill.
Drives the play.
So, God. Gonna turn him. He's just gonna slash someone in the head like Marty McSorley. It's gonna be brutal.
There you go.
With that, gentlemen, let's get out of here because those games are going to begin very, very soon, and I want to make sure that I can watch them. Everybody, we will be back, I believe, this upcoming Tuesday to talk about all the events throughout the weekend. I think Tuesday, right?
Yeah,
because we got to get
we
got to get back to our Tuesday, Friday for next week.
Yep.
We had to move up a couple of days here for the playoffs, but it worked out pretty well to be able to talk about the early games. But again, we will be back next week. Hey Endo, what do you got going on here through the weekend and the lovely editing world?
Yeah. Working on that video for you. I'll have that soon for you. Fingers crossed. Another thing too, I have left Twitch. I have decided to leave Twitch as a streaming platform and go over just to YouTube because I've just realized that it makes more sense to grow a YouTube platform and get that 1K subs so I can get that ad revenue rather than sitting on a Twitch stream for 5 people. I'm just not wasting my time anymore with Twitch anymore. Yeah. So I'm on YouTube now. I'm actually doing my first YouTube stream probably tomorrow, probably around like 5 p.m. Eastern, around the typical time we'd be recording your podcast. Just gonna probably play some games, mostly test things out, see how it works, and make sure everything works perfectly fine too. And so the way things are gonna work for me is Friday streams, and then Monday it's gonna be a clip or a short form of the stream. So that way you get the VOD and then you get the actual video content. There you go. Keep it simple.
Sin,
Yeah.
what do you got going on aside from hopefully not missing the net on every shot you take in NHL 2K10 tonight?
Yeah. Tune in to Tougie, to twitch.tv/Tougie24 to see me. Let's try to fucking score again. And hopefully not rage quit as I get a lag spite on a shootout attempt.
Oh my God! Literally a shootout. He
so
has to score to win, and he got a lag spike and walked behind the goal. It was the most pain. You could hear the pain.
It was pain. Yeah. So I obviously got my YouTube channel still. Vancouver Canucks series going on. We've won a cup here, and then got lost in the first round and got goalied. One of my members actually is one of the created members in there posted a 950 against us. He was a goaltender.
Jesus.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. He was like an 83 overall, so of course, he's going to post a 950. So got that going on, and my single is dropping May 14th. You can also see my music on Spotify, Apple Music, all the major platforms under Paul Cinders. You can follow me on Instagram at Paul Cinders as well, and on Twitter. I'm on there a bit more for the playoffs now at SinFTWProd. So there we go.
Again, you can catch Sin and I every Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday for twitch.tv/sportsgamer, sportsgamer.gg, covering the top level of NHL 22 competitive esports, the European side of things. Again, on the main channel, I'll probably have mini reviews of the Bruins games. Of course, we also have our NHL 22 playoff simulation video. And again, the most recent episode of the Cold War is out, my EA versus 2K NHL comparison. This was episode 2, NHL 2002 versus NHL 2K2. Endo knocked it out of the park with the editing on that, so look forward to that. Again, we got videos coming out every single Friday So looking forward to that. And of course, my second channel, again, TWOGIE24 is now the home for all my franchise stuff, including the Philadelphia Flyers franchise that we have going on right now. And I pretty much already promised it and guaranteed it. Your next franchise mode on that series starting sometime in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to rebuild the Boston Bruins because Lord knows they fucking need it.
Bastard.
Hold on. Let's see. It's Tuesday the 10th. So the Bruins... Here we go. To end this show, will the Bruins be eliminated from the playoffs by our next show? I have to double check to make sure, but if the schedule stays the same playing every other day, Game 3 is Friday, Game 4 is Sunday, are the Bruins eliminated by our next podcast?
I say no. Bruins are going to squeeze out a win. They kind of have to, but it won't be pretty. I don't know. I think you're actually leaning towards them getting swept at this point. It's hard to blame you, but it's still, I feel like they have to. I don't know. They don't have to, but it's their home ice, and they're going to get something. Like, probably even a Game 4. They might lose this Game 3, but they're going to get every call in Game 4.
I want them to get swept just so you can pull out the fucking paint program again. Just paint another thing on the stream. There's more reactions of that. I just want that to happen because I feel like there'll be more anger if they get swept. You know what? I feel like there's gonna be more anger if they lose Game 5 than if they lose Game 4 because Game 5 would mean that they show they had some sort of life. It's like you could have done it. You could have.
Endo, I have a job for you. If and when the Bruins get swept, I am changing my logo to the Bruins Pooh Bear face on the body of a fish.
Yes.
For those on the video side, imagine this on a trout, on a flounder, as they flop their way out of the playoffs. I just thank you all for listening and watching the Tougies Take podcast. Manscaped.com, code Tougie, check out 20% off, free worldwide shipping. We gotta go. We're out of time, and the Bruins suck ass.